Hey, what's up, blockheads? Welcome back to my channel. And today we're on DonutSMP, and I've been playing the server for a while now. I have 7 days playtime. I've made some money on here. I know I haven't uploaded anything related to the server on my channel yet, but I've definitely been playing it a lot. I've been streaming this a lot as well, and I'm assuming most of my viewers are probably come from my Twitch stream. And before we get to the video, guys, I'd kind of like to ask if you could subscribe to my channel, like the video, comment, and please follow my Twitch. I stream there all the time. I'd love if you guys came and stopped by and just had a good time. Yeah, guys, thanks. Back to the video. So today I want to make a little guide for you guys, and this guide today is going to be how to properly hide your bases. So a recurring theme in my stream is that my viewers will always come into my chat and tell me that their base gets found or their base gets raided even though they've just made a new base. And even though I don't have that much playtime, obviously I only have 7 days, a lot of you guys have a lot more playtime. I think I've been in other communities where I've learned a lot about hiding bases and stuff like that. Like I used to play a lot of 2B2T, and I never really had any issues getting my base rated. And obviously, if you guys don't know about 2B2T, you can cheat on there, so it's really easy to find bases. But like the core premise of like hiding bases kind of applies to the server as well. So I'm definitely gonna give you guys some pointers and tips on how to hide bases. My first base that I've ever made on the server lasted up until like 3 days ago, and I ended up actually giving that base away to my viewers for a giveaway. And I'm not really sure how I got rated or found, but yeah. And obviously, don't get confused with the 7 days playtime. I've AFK'd on alts before as well, not just this main account. And yeah, it's a lot more than 7 days, I would say. But yeah, so, and even still, 7 days is a lot of playtime, but never had any issues with bases getting found. And on top of that, I've made more bases around the same time that haven't got raided or found yet. So you guys, I'm definitely gonna give you some good pointers on how to hide bases and stuff like that. I hope you guys learn something from this video or pick up something new. I bet there's a lot of tips in here you probably don't know, and if you do, maybe just applying them wrong. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and RTP to a random section of the world. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter what region you guys TP to, but I'll just be TPing to my region just so I have better ping. So yeah, before we move forward with finding a good spot to make a base, let me explain something on how coordinates work in Minecraft and just direction in general. So here my player is virtually sitting at 0, 0, which would be directly in the center of a world, including DonutSMP. He's facing north, to his right is east, behind him is south, and to his left is west. And the blue just represents traveling in a line in between two main directions, right? So if I hit F3, you can see I'm at X0, Z0, and if I walk fully north, you can see my coordinate, just one of them increases, right? Now, even if I chose to run east, only one of these coordinates is going to increase, and running west, it'll decrease, but the number is still going up. And then same thing with south, Z is going up. Opposite of only one number going up would be if I ran in between these two red, right? Now if I run in between the blue, which is if you just decided to run in between north and west, or actually any of these directions, you'll see that the numbers actually increase together. Whether it be negative, positive, negative, negative, positive, negative, doesn't really matter. Point being is the numbers are going to stay the same, which are 11 in this case. And those that play DonutSMP a lot, you know that RTP is quite literally random on the server, and it could teleport you in any direction. Doesn't matter what the coordinate is, doesn't matter at all, whatever. And I know it doesn't really apply too well in Donut. I still think it's a good concept to follow, so I'm still going to teach you guys about it anyways. Even I still applied to DonutSMP, even though I know somebody could potentially just RTP or right on top of my base. I think it's just a good premise to follow, just in case the player does decide to travel in a single line of direction, which would be north, northeast, etc. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, where would you guys think a good spot to make a base would be? Obviously not on one of these lines, right? Because they're predictable paths to travel. Now here I just randomly ran out, and this would just simulate an RTP, right, on DonutSMP. So if I hit F3, you can see that I'm X5 and Z8. Now, since DonutSMP has a larger world and they're not small numbers like this might seem like a far distance, and it might not seem too close, but you can see even when I have a small area like this, 5 and 8 is still pretty close to each other, right? So hypothetically speaking, if a player was to travel in a single line of direction, you'd have an easier time finding your base because it's still predictable. And say you did spawn here, what you'd want to do is just travel out in a random direction just a little bit more. Obviously, again, the world on DonutSMP is much bigger, so you have much more room to play with. But in this instance, you know, the blocks are pretty similar, right? So if I would have spawned here, right, and the number was much greater, but it was still pretty similar, right? Say like 54,000, and then it would be like 83,000, right? Honestly, that doesn't sound too bad, because again, the world's much bigger and a player's not going to be able to travel that many chunks at once. But if you just really want to get the numbers uneven or far from each other, you just pick a direction of travel that increases only one number and just creates a little bit of a gap without getting obviously too close to the next line of travel. So in this scenario, if I was on DonutSMP and I just RTP'd and I was still close to a common direction of travel, I think I'd run straight south a little bit more, and I'd probably end up around here or even here. But you don't want to get too close to the world border. But again, this is just for demonstration purposes, so I'd most likely choose like right here and maybe go over one more block, because again, you can create still common paths of travel just by running out a little bit different directions, you know. You can see here it's still, yeah, never mind, cut the part. You can still create common paths of travel just by running in a straight line. But again, I think the safest way to do it is just to not get your numbers so close to each other. So I would choose somewhere right here. See, my X is 3 and my Z is 10. Now imagine this is like 36,000 and 108,000. Like, that's a huge gap in numbers, you know? So I hope you guys understood my little demonstration of directions and coordinates, and I hope you guys will apply it to DonutSMP, and I hope it makes sense. And again, it necessarily doesn't apply to DonutSMP, but I think it's still a good rule to follow just in Minecraft in general if you're playing stuff similar to Donut or even factions or anarchy, because I kind of actually learned this concept on 2b2t. So now let's go back on DonutSMP, and we're gonna actually look for a good spot to make a base. Okay guys, so I did the RTP, and I did this before I did a little explanation, so I kind of already knew what I was working with around here, but this is a RTP. I didn't set this any, you know, it's just random. And I'm gonna hit F3. I'm using Better F3. It's just a mod for Java. I know some people don't even play on Java, but just the important thing is just the coordinates. I kind of just down it because the colors. But you can see this is our coordinates right here for the RTP, right? You know, we got the X, the Y, and the Z. The Y doesn't really matter, as just the red and the blue colors right here. And honestly, if you see, these numbers are pretty far apart. They still are both negative, which is fine. And I think I did the math. So the gap between these two numbers are 87,000, which means somebody had to travel outwards of 87,000 blocks to get to these coordinates if they're following, again, one of those main like roads I was discussing in the earlier clip. But other than that, guys, I honestly think this would be a good spot, other than it being a desert, just because people are going to be mining around here. Obviously, you don't see that much stuff placed around, which is always a good sign. If you really want to get a good base, honestly, I would make no exceptions to this rule. I would not put a base where these blocks are, but if you were needing a base or started out, I don't think anybody would really come over here. I think if you made a base here, you would have a decent chance of nobody really finding it. I would honestly run out just a little bit more to where you're not seeing blocks placed around, but it is still a desert, so you know, people are going to be mining this. Obviously, you can see there's huge flat areas. You could tell somebody ran across the surface and now it's mined out. You know, over here is not much going on. You know, the coordinates are not going to change drastically if you're just running a little bit. You know, so not a bad spot for RTP. But again, yeah, I would just keep looking, probably do it over there. And then again, look out for the big things, which would be you know, if you are seeing obsidian a lot, you're seeing like where people were fighting last. And you see, as you run out a little bit more, not too far from the desert, which is right over there, you're not really seeing, you're seeing a lot less stuff. Obviously there's like something like somebody blew up right here or something like that. Not much going on over there, so we're just gonna keep running and kind of just wait. You know, there's still some stuff over there too. And yeah, if you have access to your pie chart, I'd honestly use a pie chart as well. So you'd hit F3 and then you're gonna do tick, level, and block entities. And honestly, this is a good indicator of if somebody's been around in the area or not. I would just run out and keep refreshing this until nothing really shows up other than green. Just because that really means that like nobody would see, like right here, at least on the surface, there's not like chest, obsidian, ender chest, stuff like that. Obviously, and not obsidian because that's not an entity, but you know what I mean. You know, this looks like a creeper hole or something. There's still torches over here, but it's still, you know what I mean, like it's still green. You know, I personally wouldn't use this, but this is a really good candidate for making a base. So I'm gonna keep RTPing, and then I'm gonna find a spot that I'd use, and then I'll give you guys some other pointers because it doesn't end here. Like, this is just the beginning part of it, and then obviously when you find the area you want to mine into, some of these tips may sound obvious, but you'd be surprised. I'm just gonna go through all of them, but I'm gonna keep RTPing, look for a good spot. So just a quick update, I just RTP'd, and you can see here that the numbers are almost, they're pretty close, right? So I would honestly avoid this. I don't like how close they are. Again, I know that Donut has RTP and it could literally teleport you anywhere, but just like, I don't know, I just don't like it. And again, what I said in the earlier clip, I just think it's a good habit to just not fall into. A quick little update is I actually just RTP to a raided village, but I can't stress this enough. Please do not set your homes at villages. Do not make a base underneath villages. People check this all the time. Even people that don't really even base raid check this. It's just kind of obvious because where else are you going to put the villagers? There's no villagers here. Obviously people could have killed them, but most likely somebody just dug them under the ground, and people check this all the time. I know it might sound good, but just don't do it, please. I just want to make clear of a little myth here. A lot of players sometimes think that if you see stuff drop on the ground, that means like a player was here recently. That actually just means that whoever mined this tree actually left the chunk, and the chunk unloaded, and the items stay in that chunk. These things are not going to actually despawn unless a player sits here for like 90 seconds and watches it despawn. But it's just like a little thing that I feel like a lot of players fall for, so just ignore stuff like that. And that doesn't necessarily count towards a good base or not. And that doesn't necessarily count towards a good base location or not. Okay guys, I actually did find a good location following the same things I've just taught you in this video. Now I'm going to show you what to do when you're on the surface and how to get down. I usually like to find corners to dig in, so I'm going to find like a corner. And make sure you have a silk touch. If you can't afford a silk touch, just buy an anvil, buy a silk touch book, and put it on a normal pickaxe like this, like the default ones you get. But we're gonna just mine in a corner, okay? So we're just gonna break this corner, make sure you use the silk touch, and put the blocks back in the order you got them. We're gonna put this one up here, you know, like this. And we're just gonna go all the way down. Yeah, so I actually just dig straight down to bedrock, and then I'll update you guys when I'm at bedrock. And if you run into caves, just same thing. Make sure you put the blocks back in the order you got them. Just because imagine you're walking down this cave and you also see like blocks missing like this. Players will just see a hole like this and just assume to keep mining down like in this direction. So just don't do this. Put them back where you got them. And make sure you don't leave gaps either, because you can see these gaps in free cam. Okay, when you hit bedrock, just mine around and make sure that you're on the surface level of bedrock. Obviously you can dig in between bedrock like this. So that, see how like all this looks like this, and there's a one here, one here. Actually means bedrock height is at this level right here. You can just check your F3. But again, still fill in the holes that you mine like this. So we know this is the surface of bedrock, pretty much this level. So now we're just gonna go up, like, you can really go up as much as you want or how much you need. If you're gonna build farms and stuff like that, make sure you give yourself a little bit extra room. But for the premise of this video, I'm just gonna go up like 3 or 4. Now a big tip for Java players is actually to turn your subtitles on. So then you go to accessibility, show subtitles, and it should tell you what's going on around you. If you hear like skeletons or like see lava pop, that means there's a cave or like a lava pool around here. That might not be a bad thing necessarily, but if you have caves around you, you're gonna need to fill those in, and I'll explain why later. But I'm just gonna mine out a little room right now. Okay guys, so now I'm down here, mine out like a little box here. So the next thing that you're gonna want to really worry about when you're down here like this is obviously if you have caves around you. And again, putting subtitles on really helps. I'm not sure if you can do this on bedrock, but you're really just listening for lava. And the good way to check for caves is to keep your base too high initially. And you're just going to want to mine out like a little bit more in each direction, that way you can run around. Okay, so pretty much what you want to do is you're going to want to go in F3 and make sure you have view bobbing on, so you see how like when I walk my arm moves. Keep that on, or if you don't have it on, turn it on. But you want to look straight, and you want to have your head kind of just touching like pretty much flat, if that makes sense. Not like this and like this, and you just want to walk. But you can kind of see it shows like caves around me. It doesn't show the full caves around me, it shows you a good idea where the caves are. And obviously you see that I have like a big cave above me right here, like up in this area right here. And obviously there's little smaller ones like right there if you can see. So we know there's some in this direction. I'm gonna mine like a little tunnel just to give myself like a little running room. We're gonna do this through the same thing. It looks like this way is actually pretty clear. And then obviously I see some right here. There's a big one right here. You see guys, this is what I mean. So obviously you're gonna want to fill this in. Pretty much just fill it in with stone. And then last thing, we're gonna just check this direction. And oh, I'm doing it wrong. There's nothing in this direction. So you know, just to mine up here and kind of mine around this area and kind of fix this tunnel right here, this big cave. And make sure you use a silk touch and just buy extra stone, guys. Just fill it in with stone. And the reason why you're going to be filling in caves and stuff like that is just because people that play legitimately, which is most players, hopefully, they're going to be mining and then they're also going to be caving. Obviously, caves are a really good way of getting stuff in these newer versions of Minecraft. So they're going to be wanting to go caving. And if they walk through a cave and literally find like a corner of your base, like especially if you put walls and like a roof, imagine guys, you walk down this cave right here in front of us and you just see like a wall. Like it's the easiest way to lose a base for absolutely no reason. So make sure you guys fill in those caves, okay? A couple more tips would be some good biomes, right? Ocean's pretty good, but I remember you still got to use silk touch, and the gravel is going to try to fall when you put it down there. So make sure you know, either go back to the surface, put the gravel, and then dig down. That way you don't put cobblestone, because again, players will just dig straight to that cobblestone. Maybe mountains. Mountains are really good, especially if the area you spawn in is on the top of a mountain and you dig straight down to the mountain all the way down to bedrock, because now this means the player is way higher above even sea level Minecraft, and so they're going to dig a lot farther to get to you. So that's always a good way too. Again, any area that's not destroyed, griefed, maybe check that pie chart. You want to be fully green. No blocks, no block entities, no spawners, nothing like that. Okay guys, that'll be the end of the video. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure you guys follow my Twitch, join the Discord. I will be giving away this little box right here for whoever wants to have a good starter area that I personally found and I would use. You know, we'll maybe release it when I hit 25 likes or so. Make sure you join the Discord though. You gotta join the Discord. I'll be giving away in there. But yeah guys, thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Make sure you follow my Twitch. I stream there a lot. We always give away money. We always, you know, we have a good time on there. We hang out. I help a lot of my viewers build stuff, mine out areas, all that stuff. So yeah guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you.